Good morning. It is Tuesday, October 29th, and if you can believe it, it is 78 degrees Fahrenheit at my house today, which is not, that's not okay. But I can't control that. But what I can control, like this segue, is the procession here of excellent WiLS vendors joining us for another Taco Tuesday. So you can see here on the screen, we've got a lineup of four of our great presenters, and they're all here ready to go. So without any further ado, I would like to turn things over to our first presenter, joining us from LibraryPass, Comics Plus, Alex Burnsides. Alex, are you ready to get going?
I am.
All
I'm
right.
ready.
I've stopped my screen share so that you can take over.
Perfect. Go ahead and share my screen here. All right. Can everybody see that okay?
We can. It looks great.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks so much, Jeff. So as Jeff mentioned, I'm Alex. I'm here with LibraryPass to chat with you fine folks in the great state of Wisconsin about Comics Plus and our current discount offer for all WiLS member libraries. We've had the immense pleasure to provide some more in-depth walkthroughs for both public and K-12 libraries. So we're super grateful to be back for this Taco Tuesday event and chat with you a little bit more about the platform. My colleague Beth should be present on the call as well. She's in the chat, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to pop those into the chat, and she should be able to answer those as they come up. Today's theme, as you can tell, I'm really leaning hard into our seasonal holidays here, is unlimited simultaneous access with Comics Plus. Is it a trick or is it a treat? You'll see that there's a QR code up on this page here. I wanted to pop that up there. I know I personally am like very much an active listener and learner. So if you click on the link that'll take you to, it's just the full demo site for the complete collection of Comics Plus if you want to follow along. I thought today that we could look at Comics Plus and how we define unlimited simultaneous access. I know, we are sort of dedicated solely to the mediums of comic books, graphic novels, manga, and then new this year to the platform is picture books. We know there are other digital content providers offering comics, so we just kind of wanted to take the chance to differentiate how our access model works and how it can benefit our library partners. So we are going to look at our unlimited simultaneous access in a couple different contexts. So we're going to look at Comics Plus for schools, Comics Plus for public libraries, and Comics Plus for our voracious readers. And this is the end of my PowerPoint presentation. Mostly I designed this for a leave behind, so I promise I'm not just going to read a slide deck to you. We are going to hop into the platform itself. Real quickly, we do have some links here, as well as contact information for my colleague, Beth Hollis, who has probably reached out to a lot of you. But if you have questions about pricing, about the special discount offer that we have for WiLS libraries, or about next steps, anything like that, we will make sure to get a link out to all of this information, as well as links to like request a demo and other helpful things like that. So we are going to hop into the Comics Plus platform. The first kind of use case that I really love talking about, and again, leaning hard into the fact that Halloween is this week, is a really cool collaboration at one of the K-12 library partners that we work with, who basically the library was looking to promote Comics Plus after subscribing. They wanted to make sure that students knew that it was there, and also teachers, because there's a lot of bang for your buck in this collection. And so the library and the drama department collaborated to get the students who were taking drama to get into Comics Plus, access a number of different graphic novel adaptations of Bram Stoker's Dracula, and use those different contexts to help inform their set designs, their costumes, their stage blocking. So not only was the drama department able to provide this really incredible resource of a bunch of different inspirations for their sets and for their production of the play, but the library was able to boost their circulation and also help promote and market this new resource to demographics that may not have sought out comics otherwise. So this is one of my favorites. The drama department was able to put on a really incredible performance of Dracula. and was able to use some of these really fun adaptations. Now, where the unlimited simultaneous access comes in, what we mean when we say that is that there is no limit on the number of copies of any title in our collection. There's also no charge per checkout. So it's just a flat subscription fee. It's kind of like the same model as Netflix. Once you subscribe to it, you can access anything in here as much as you want. So students all wanted to access this Saddleback educational adaptation of Dracula at the same time. Even if there were 60 of them, they are all going to be able to get in there uninterrupted without any issues, without getting kicked out, without getting waitlisted. And the library is not going to see any kind of fun surprise charges just because something was really popular and saw a lot of traffic. So that is sort of the first context that I wanted to talk about, our unlimited simultaneous access model. Second, I'm going to talk a little bit about public library programming. So I'm going to hop into another tab here. So this is the landing page for Comics Plus. Again, this is the full collection demo. You'll see that we have a number of like curated shelves. Our team puts these together based on a number of different factors. So we have a handful of librarians on staff who pull from their own experience working in libraries to come up with shelves that'll support common library programming. It's also going to be looking at things like holidays, current events, stuff like that. So I have an example pulled up here from this spooky season shelf called I'm Undead and Hungry. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here. So I mentioned earlier that we have a new collection of picture books in the collection that we're really excited about. We started adding those this past spring with some new picture book publishing partners that we are super thrilled to be working with. This particular example is I'm Undead and Hungry. And one of the contexts that our public library partners have been using our new picture book content and taking advantage of that unlimited simultaneous access model is at story time. So I personally have a 2.5, almost 3-year-old. We love to take him to story time. And something that I tend to run into with him is that we'll go home after story time. It's bedtime. He likes to read books before bed, and he'll ask me like, Mom, I want to read the Snowman book. I'm like, well, we don't have a Snowman book. What are you talking about? And it's the book from Storytime. And of course, you know, if the library does have extra copies, there's only going to be a couple of them. So something that some of our public library partners have been doing is they take the digital version and they're able to project it up either on like a screen that they have or on a monitor. Our scan quality is really great. So even if it's like really, really zoomed in, there's no pixelation, and it kind of makes the experience a little bit more inclusive because the kids are honestly there as much for the pictures as anything else. And so it's able to reach a lot more little eyes. And then you can also pop up a QR code directly to this book with this link here, and parents can snag a digital copy of it later just through their library's offerings, and nobody melts down, at least not about that. I can't guarantee that toddlers won't melt down about other things. That's not really within my purview, but they will have access to the book that they read, and you will have a lot of happy readers at home. Again, because there is no limit on who can check this out, there's not going to be any competition, nobody elbowing each other, fighting over copies to make sure that their kid is the one who gets to read it again that night over and over and over again, as kids love to do. And they'll be ready to read their new spooky season favorite again and again as a part of their library's regular offerings. I know I'm speeding through here. I'm trying to keep to my 15 minutes. The third context is supporting independent free reading. So because of our access model, the unlimited simultaneous access, we know that independent free reading is a huge draw of the Comics Plus platform. So we see this as supporting both voracious readers as well as reluctant or struggling readers. So if you have big fans of manga, comic books, graphic novels in your readership, in your student body, in your patrons, you know that these are insatiable readers. They will tear through an entire series in less than a week and still be hungry for more, much like our friend Roscoe the zombie. some of these series, especially the manga series, can have like over 100 chapters, and truly there's not enough shelf space or budget in the world to support that. And so we have some partners who will, they'll have the first 3 books in a series like Avatar: The Last Airbender, and then at the end of the last physical copy that they have in the library, they'll pop in a Comics Plus like bookmark that we have available free online in our resource center, and they'll say, hey, I hope you're enjoying the series. Please go here if you want to continue it, and they can continue to binge their manga. The other part of this that we are super passionate about is supporting and creating new voracious readers. So if you have readers who are struggling with their literacy building blocks, or just maybe like a grade or 2 behind in their reading level, the breadth of content that we offer, which this page I'm on here is our categories to kind of show exactly how many genres are represented across the scope of this collection. If you have readers who need a little bit more help when it comes to reading, and maybe makes them less excited to read, we truly have something for every reader here as far as genre coverage goes. So in order to, help a reader, you don't want to have like a teenager who is a couple years behind in their literacy building blocks reading something that A, isn't going to be engaging or challenging them from a content perspective, or B, like be embarrassing to carry around and tell people that you're reading. And so to have content that they're actually interested in, that's curated based on our age appropriate guidelines, which are linked in the slide deck, specifically for them, that they can read with the context of the artwork to kind of help provide that additional support. It not only helps support them in their reading, but it also creates an enthusiasm, we hope, and gets them really excited about reading in a way that maybe they weren't before. In the vein of supporting those readers, specifically in a K-12 scenario, there's tons of graphic novel adaptations, which I already mentioned. I know I would have personally benefited from having some context to read the Shakespeare I needed to graduate, because it's like an entirely different language. There's also lots of core curriculum support and things like that. So I'm wrapping up here. I think I have like 3 minutes left, and I'm going to take a quick look at the chat to see if there are any questions or anything that comes up. We don't have individual parental controls, Brian, just looking at the question here. We do have individual curated collections. So for public libraries, we have a children's, teen, and full collection for public libraries. And so those are curated based on our age appropriate guidelines. I could pull those up really quickly so that you can see that. These are available publicly online. And so you'll see it has information on who the readers are, the format that you'll find for them, the language, and then which Comics Plus package they're in. So we work with our partners in the public libraries as well as the K-12 to make sure that they are picking packages that are going to have the content that they're looking for. In the K-12 space, we have curated collections specifically for elementary schools, for middle schools, and for high schools. So again, there is going to be a link to these age appropriate guidelines in the leave behind that I'm going to send to Jeff next week, but just kind of wanted to pop that up since you had a question. And Jennifer, your question about circulation data, yes, we do have an admin portal. It has information on circulation, things like what title was checked out, when it was checked out, how long they had it for. By default, the data is encrypted, so we don't store data unless it's a specific requirement for your school district or something like that. But by default, all of that data is encrypted and we don't store it anywhere. And in the vein of Brian's question, there is also a curation portal in the admin tool. So we have these guidelines. We were very thoughtful in putting them together, and we think it's important to be transparent about them. But we also recognize it's a moving target. So if there are additional curations that you need to make for your community, you can customize your collection in the admin portal as well. And it looks like I'm right at 12:44. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I do not want to step on my other brilliant presenters' time here. But if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. We'll hang out for a few more minutes.
Thank you, Alex. Really fantastic. Although, 15 minutes is always a whirlwind, but thank you so much for showing us what you've got to offer there at Comics Plus. I've said this before, but I think finding these, I don't even know the right word, alternative is the wrong way to put it, but like other vectors for literacy and education I'm becoming, I have been, but I'm becoming a really big fan of that. I think comics fits right into to that. So thank you so much for sharing with us, Alex, and welcome Beth as well from Comics Plus joining us here. All right, let me I'm going to share my screen again really fast because I want to prepare for our next presenter. So joining us from all the way in the United Kingdom, from Digital Theater, which is a longtime partner, but a new face for us. Anna, are you ready to take over and talk to us about Digital Theater?
Yes, I am. London calling. Hello, everyone. Good morning. What I will do is I'll share my screen. So let's get that up and running. Here we go. Fantastic. So yes, my name's Anna and I'm part of Digital Theatre Plus. Today, I'm just going to give you a bit of a general overview of who we are, what's new. You'll have to excuse also how dark it is in here. We're quite a few hours ahead and the evening is here. Typical grey England, as you can expect. But moving on, I will go over what's new on the platform. I know that some WiLS members are subscribers and some are not, so we'll just do a bit of a look over of everything. So this is Digital Theatre Plus. We were founded in 2009 with a mission to make the arts accessible to everyone, no matter where you are in the world. And now we provide engaging learning experiences in theatre studies and English to over 3,000 institutions in over 90 countries, including some WiLS members. So thank you. Now, here is what the platform is essentially. What is Digital Theatre Plus? We at our core are an offering of full-length, professionally filmed theatre productions. But that also includes a number of interviews, documentaries, e-learning videos, etc. So I'll show you the best way to discover that. I'm on the homepage here. If we scroll down to the bottom of the page, past all these lovely recommendations of content down here, you'll find the table of contents. Now, at a glance, this is quite a lot. So if you wanted to just look at what video productions there are, we could go here. We could go into genres, courses, forms, and themes. So if you wanted to see what musical theatre we had, you can come here and see all the different musical theatre productions we have, from West End theatres and Broadway theatres. She Loves Me, well, Titanic the musical. Lots to uncover in here, but also we can have a look at if you're teaching something more specific. So if you were having a look at American theatre, we have a few number of pieces here as well. All My Sons, so Arthur Miller, and The Crucible as well. And then if you wanted to look at different forms as well, so we can come down here. If you were studying physical theatre or wanted to have a look at site-specific theatre, opera, dance and dance theatre, you could see more productions for this here. So yeah, we have 600 productions all in all, and 400 video productions as well. So these have been professionally filmed. They're from partners around the globe. And you can also see more of these partners down here and production companies. People get excited when they hear about Broadway HD, who is our exclusive educational partner. And here, again, you'll find more Broadway and West End plays and musicals to share with your students. But in terms of what else you can discover on the platform, you can scroll along productions, video resources, written resources, and teaching resources. Video resources, you'll be able to see all the different interviews we have on the site. If you do work in schools and you're a teacher and you want to give your students access, we also have content controls as well. So there is an adult content filter that comes on, which blocks anything that would have swearing or anything like that would be off limits to students and their access. But moving swiftly along, so you can have a look at these different e-learning videos, interviews. We've got poetry on the site as well as written resources, essays, some graphic novels, not as much as Comics Plus, but we've got a few, and teaching resources as well. If you wanted to look at different productions that we have on the site, you can use the search bar up here. I've been inspired by, I don't know, let me see if Frankenstein H, but we have a great production of Frankenstein on the site with a puppet that's been made of ropes, and also interviews to go alongside it for how they made the puppet, how they also, if I go to here we go, interviews, how they directed it, the different actors' interpretations of the roles, how they did the music, and so putting on a production, if you're looking for resources on how to do that with your students and how to inspire them to take different roles in the production as well, this is a great place to look. But also if you are a teacher and you're wanting lesson plans, that is something that we can help with as well. So at the top here, you'll see there's these 2 drop-down menus for middle school and high school. I just want to very quickly show you study units. Now, if I go into, let's have a look at high school, and let's look at theatre. So we have them for ELA as well. But we have these on a number of different topics. So let's say we're going to go into devising here, devising with Stan's Cafe or the Paper Birds. And what this is it's a collection of content. So rather than having to search around our entire platform for things that you could use in your lessons, we've done it for you. So you can go through and say, okay, here are all the lesson plans that I need. Are you teaching devising? Here's some great exercises to get you started, different content recommendations, lesson plans in here as well. And then also educational videos that have excerpts popped out of them as well. So so this is 53 minutes, but you can just have a look at this 3-minute clip that we say, okay, this is the part that you need to watch out of it, because I know obviously as we go and with teaching students, sometimes engagement can be a little it can vary depending on the student. So if you wanted something short, snappy and sweet, this is the place to go to, these study units here. The other thing that I want to share with you as well is our new interactive playtexts. Now, Shakespeare is sometimes very mystifying. The Bard's great works. We have a number of them on the site. We have a production for every single one of Shakespeare's canon. So no matter what you're studying, we will have a production for it on the site that you can engage with. But looking at Shakespeare specifically, we are releasing a new series of what we call interactive playtexts, which are a world first. Now, I will use Macbeth as an example, which I think is fine to say in this context because we're not in a theatre. I think we'll be all right. But let me type in Macbeth here. Now, if I use the resource type filter and come down here to playtext, we'll find the interactive playtext here. Now, the idea with these is, as this loads up, there we go. These can be downloaded and printed as well. A lot of our PDF resources and written resources can be. There are some that can't, just to let you know, for licensing issues, but if it's by us, you can do that. And this is. But we've collaborated with a different academic. So in this case, Dr. Christy Carson from over here in the UK, from a very cool university called Royal Holloway, but that's not most relevant right now. But going through, we've annotated the full playtext. Now, this is from open source Shakespeare, so you know where it's from, and it's quite true to the text as well. But as you go through, you can actually see it in action. So if we look at, okay, the character of the witches, how does speaking in unison help to create the atmosphere of the scene? And then what you'll be able to do is click through here and it will bring up the timestamps of that specific section. So once that loads up here, you'll see in the URL it says start and end time, and then it will be able to play here and then end there. It might not play the audio over this over this Zoom call, but I'll see what happens. And I think the internet might be taking a moment. Well, there we go. But what it would do is just play that little clip. So as you go through, it's another way to take the language from the page to the stage and see, I know, especially for more visual learning students or people who want to, it can be very hard to engage with Shakespeare. So to see it in action is very useful, especially with these different insights as well on the technical theatre. So how is it designed? What's the set like? What are the actors doing? What's the direction? And language and character development as well. So that's just an idea of what we have been releasing. So Macbeth was the first one that we came out with. We have the most productions of Macbeth on our site of all the Shakespeare. I think we have 5, which is quite a lot of Macbeth. But yes, we currently have 8 interactive playtexts, so we've got them for a number of different Shakespeare productions. Also, the importance of being earnest. We've got even more. So if you are already a subscriber of Digital Theatre Plus, I would implore you to log on using edu.digitaltheatreplus.com and have a look around. Put whatever you're studying into the search bar, see what comes up. I am the customer success manager here at Digital Theatre Plus. So if there's any questions at any point, please feel free to send them my way. My email address is my name with a dot in the middle and at digitaltheatre.com. But I'm sure Jeff would be able to also help with that line of communication if that gets broke. But yes, so have a look on Digital Theatre Plus, put whatever you're studying into the search bar. And if you're interested in learning more about the platform, you can also email sales@digitaltheatreplus.com for more information about getting set up with the platform. I haven't checked if there are any questions. However, I will just have a quick look now. Other than that, it's quite short and sweet from me. Let me have a look.
Thank you, Anna. I don't see any questions in the chat box yet, but I will reiterate what Anna said, which is if you are watching this live or if you're watching the recording after the fact and you have questions or want more information, would like to have some one-on-one discussion, I'm sure that we can arrange time for you to speak to Anna or somebody from Digital Plus. And if it's a question that we can answer here at WiLS, of course, we will too. Anna, I'm really impressed by the interactive play text feature, and I think that's brilliant because much like, you know, I always think like poetry is written to be read aloud. The script of a play is written with the intention of being performed and being seen in that format. So if you're reading it, of course, there's value in that, but you're not getting the whole experience and really understanding why that word, right? I mean, I think being able to read something and then immediately see an interpretation, a stage interpretation of it right after the fact would be incredibly valuable educationally.
Yes, it's fascinating sometimes how words have completely different meaning, or it all makes a lot more sense when you hear it. And especially with Shakespeare and that iambic pentameter and the da-dun, 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 and that heartbeat, hearing that is so important as well. So I'm really glad you see the value in it. And yeah, they're superb. I'm a big fan of them.
I imagine it can really be used as a way of highlighting the importance of direction and performance, and that so much can change based on what the decisions of the production were of a particular, especially since you can watch 3 or 5 versions of the same scene back to back and see how different actors and directors chose to present the same bit of dialogue. So that's really cool. Thanks so much for sharing with us. So, all right, we're doing good on time here, doing well on time. Maybe I should use more proper English when I'm on the call with an Englishwoman here. All right, she's giving me the go ahead. I'll say we're doing good on time, even though that's horrible, even to my own ear. Let me share my screen again to get us ready for our next presenter. Okay, so joining us, speaking of long-time WiLS vendor partners with new faces, I'm excited to be joined by 2 folks coming to us from longtime vendor partner Gale. On the call today, we have Lindsay and Paula, both of whom I'm just meeting face-to-face for the first time today, although Paula and I have been doing a little bit of work behind the scenes up until now. I think Lindsay is going to be presenting, if I'm correct. So Lindsay, are you ready to take over?
I am. I'm actually going to go ahead and share my screen, and then Paula is going to get us started here.
Yeah.
Great.
There we go.
All right. So welcome to Taco Tuesday. I want to start out by giving Jeff a quick thank you and all the members at WiLS. They've been amazing partners. As a new member myself of Gale, and I'm just in admiration of the work that they're doing for Wisconsin libraries, public and schools, and their dedication to libraries and student learning. So thank you for having us today. Many of you may already know Gale through our databases, our Gale in Context databases, our ebook collections or professional development. But for today, our Taco Tuesday focus is going to be on a partnership that Gale has with Peterson's Career and Test Prep. We were made aware that Learning Express is no longer available via Badgerlink, and that there are some schools with gaps in this content area, and thought it would be a great topic for today. Before we get into the demo, which Lindsay is going to be doing today, I want to introduce you to your Gale team because many of us are new. I'm Paula Gray. I'm based locally, actually, in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm a former teacher. I was at the Monona Grove School District last year, and I am your local Gale Education Sales Consultant. Steve Wilson is also part of my team. He's also a Gale Education Consultant based out of Michigan. So if you meet with him, you're meeting with him virtually. We also actually have Emily Kasperzik on the call. She is our Gale Customer Success Manager, and she is here to make sure you get the best out of your Gale products. And Lindsay, who got an introduction, is here to provide the demo, and she's a training consultant. And thank you for Jeff. He did send out a trial of this product last Tuesday to everyone and my contact information. If you need an extension on that trial, it's good through next Tuesday. I'll throw my contact information in the chat, or you can reach out and get it through Jeff. And we're good. Emily, we're good. I see that. Okay. Thanks, Lindsay. You can take it away.
All right, I'll take it away from here. Thank you for the introduction, Paula. So as Paula said, we are here to talk today about Gale presents Peterson's Test and Career Prep. These are two resources that are very aptly named. Within each, you're going to find some really incredible test prep material for both students and adult patrons if you're from a public library. We've got vocational tests, AP tests, ACT, SAT, resources that are typically very expensive for students and patrons to buy on their own, all available for free here within your subscription to Peterson's. And then also some really cool career prep tools like a resume builder, career cruising quiz, career advice to help support your patrons, whether they're just starting out and kind of going out for their very first job, or if they're looking to change fields or kind of swap things up. Now, with these resources, there are many different tools and features that we could look at. So I chose to focus just kind of in on one piece today, just so it's not too much in the about 10 minutes that we've got going on here. So we're going to dive right in and focus first here on just the test prep piece. So as Paula said, you do have a trial for this, so you're welcome to log in and follow along if you'd like and kind of make your account. But that is the first most important piece here with Peterson's. This is a resource that your students and your patrons can kind of come back to again and again because there's full courses inside to help them prepare for tests. There are entire practice tests they can take. They can build resumes inside. So the very first piece is making that account and signing in. Now, once you have your account and you start scrolling down our homepage here, we have these nice calls to action to kind of prompt your students and your patrons on what it is they're in Peterson's to do today. So if you're looking to take a test, like I'm going to show you today, we've got a couple different options. You can prep for an exam like an AP test, a college level test, even graduate level exams, brush up on foundational skills. So if you need to brush up on some of those math skills or reading or writing, even science and computer skills, we've got little courses and exams there. Prep for vocational tests. So if you're looking to go into cosmetology or firefighting or even the postal service, we've got tests there. And this is also a really great piece for high school students if they're considering going into a vocation. You know, maybe they're not preparing for the test itself right now, but they want to see what goes into that career. What kind of certification are they going to need? They can preview all of that here in Peterson's. But I'm going to start out and prep for an exam. And as you click on any of those calls to action, it kind of helps you filter down and narrow in on exactly what it is you're looking for. So again, we've got a couple different exams that you can prep for. You know, when I was preparing for college, I took the ACT and I spent a lot of money getting test prep materials and taking those practice tests. So if I were prepping for the ACT again, I could come in right here, college test prep, see all the different college tests that we've got, which right here is the ACT. And for this exam, we happen to have an online course and practice test. So two different pieces of material that you can use. Now, even though I'm in the ACT, what I'm going to show you here, it functions the same way for all the other exams and courses that you have. They're all set up with the same kind of user experience in mind. It's just, of course, the content inside is going to differ slightly. So if I wanted to go in and first take my online course, maybe I want to prepare for the ACT, but I'm not ready for the practice test yet. I just want to study up and see what's going to be inside. You'll see here that rather than having one long course for me to take, we've got it kind of sectioned out by subject area and by topic. So if a student wants to come in and maybe I just want to brush up on my basic grammar, or I want to look at some vocabulary today, all of this is sectioned out and it's self-paced so they can kind of pick and choose what they want to work on. If I want to go in and look at some advanced algebra, just a little background about me, I'm a former math teacher, so I do typically gravitate towards the math topics. I can click in here and you'll see that even within this course, I've got it sectioned out subject by subject. So again, it's not going to be one long course that I have to take. I can kind of pick and choose and track my progress as I go. So for example, here I can see that I've done 4 out of 9 lessons for complex numbers. When I open it up, those 4 lessons aren't necessarily in order. They're just the ones that I clicked into because they were the ones that I was interested in learning more about. With your lessons, you can get a couple different formats. They're typically pretty quick here, maybe just 1 page, again, so it's not too overwhelming. You might get some examples on that page, some notes to take. We've also got some great video content since we know a lot of students love videos, that kind of multimedia. They can kind of see the math being done or see the concepts being taught. And then we even have example questions built in. So an example question from the exam, here's my example, my steps to solve, and then even my tip here kind of built in. So all this support just for this one topic within my advanced algebra test. All right, if I want to go back and see that course again, I can just click in right here. And if I scroll down to the bottom, again, we've got videos built in, we've got practice questions built into every one of these lessons, but at the very bottom, I also have flashcards, practice tests that are separate from the practice tests that we're going to look at here in a second. So a whole other set, and then even additional resources the ACT has built in for students to get financial aid support. So, if they are looking to go to college, here's a college and financial aid quiz that they can take and kind of learn a little bit more about that. All right, so that's just the online course. That's one piece. Now, in addition to that online course, I also have here, you can see books that are available. It's available down here for the practice test too. It is the same book. I'll go ahead and say that now. That way, if a student happens to just find one of these as they're browsing, they get the same book. But this is downloadable. So if a student prefers, a paper experience where they can kind of print it out, write, take notes that way, they are going to get this from 2019, the ACT Prep Guide. And it is essentially that course that we just looked at, different content, but the same type of format where it's broken down subject by subject, topic by topic, and they can read in this ebook format and kind of take their notes, print things out as they need it, and prepare here. And even within this ebook, if I go back to my table of contents, you get some practice tests that are available here, so they can do that on paper if they'd like. But if they want to do a digital practice test, this is where all of those live. So my ACT practice tests, notice that it is plural because it's never going to be just one version. With the ACT, we actually have 7 versions of digital practice tests that they can take. It looks like it's just one, but once you open it, it's kind of set up the same way as that course where it's sectioned out topic by topic, piece by piece. So you can see here as I scroll down, we've got ACT practice tests all the way through 7. And then if a student was looking at that prep guide that I showed you before, the ebook, and they want to take the practice tests that are in the prep guide digitally, we've actually got those loaded in here as well. So that way they can kind of get that immediate feedback and scoring here from within Peterson's. All right, but with these sections, let's just choose practice test for section 3, reading. When they select any of these sections for the exam, you'll notice that there's no time limit. They can take it as many times as they'd like, but it does suggest, hey, if you were taking the actual ACT, you'd have about 2 hours. Just kind of keep that in mind as you're working. It gives you some quick instructions, but it's very easy to take. Once I get it loaded here, there we go. You can preview how many pages of questions you're going to have over here on the left. The content and questions will be over on the right, same kind of format that they would have if they were taking the actual ACT. I've got multiple choice questions, and I'm going to do my best guessing here, and we'll see how I do. I'm going to skip a question intentionally because you'll see over here on the side, it's keeping track of what I answered. So if I happen to skip a question, it becomes pretty obvious that, hey, I missed question 5. I'm probably going to want to go back to that here in a minute and answer that. So if I get to the bottom of the page, I want to go back to 5, I can just click there. It's hyperlinked, jumps right to it, makes it nice and easy for me to get back to that question later. All right, if I wanted to, I could continue on to the next page, read my next passage, and keep moving on. But again, you know, kind of like the units, if I only have time to take just one page and just kind of see really quickly how I do with one passage, I have the option to submit my quiz at any time. It is going to remind me, hey, you've got about 30 unanswered questions, so you may want to go back and answer these. And again, they're hyperlinked, so it brings you right to that question if you did happen to miss one, if you took the whole exam. But when I submit it, this is one of my favorite pieces that we have for our practice tests, which is, of course, I get the immediate score and kind of feedback here. Okay, looks like I got 3 out of those 10 questions correct. But rather than just seeing if it's right or wrong, it also gives me the feedback here, this explanation as to what the correct answer was and why. This is a piece that, you know, when I was taking this practice test when I was in high school, I didn't get. I just got a score and you kind of worked off that, how you did based on your score. Here I can see, even if I got the question correct, maybe I had a really great guess. As we know, I guessed on this test. It still is going to explain why A was the correct answer. So I still get that information either way. So this feedback here, or the feedback piece here, is so valuable and so important for students. And again, you're going to get that for any of your practice tests that you have in Peterson's. All right, let me go back here. Oh, I just saw a question come through. Being unfamiliar with the ACT format, do the practice tests look similar in format, et cetera, to the actual ACT? Yes and no. So I do believe, I'm not sure if the ACT is totally digital now, the SAT is. We're trying to move to the formatting as we get it from each of those testing sites. We actually have an option here, this title list, where you can view how current our practice test is compared to the most recent version of the ACT and SAT. So it's got the same formatting where, you know, you have the numbered lines, you've got the multiple choice questions, same structure in that way, but the formatting may be slightly different to how it appears digitally if they are moving to a digital version of that test. Okay, so if this is a test that I want to prepare for, you know, I took the course, took the test, I want to come back to this later, we've got this nice option here where I can add it to my resources. This is a nice piece. That way, as students and patrons come into their resource, if they're like, hey, I was working on the ACT and some other test the other day that I want to look at again, we have this My Resources button right here that follows you no matter where you're at in the resource. And it's got all your stored progress. We have them set in here as goals. So, you know, if I have a goal of taking the ACT, here are the materials that I've been using to prepare for that. I've added in here a couple other ones just to kind of showcase some of the other tests that we have. You know, again, medical and nursing, taking the NCLEX, very expensive test. We've got practice tests here that patrons can take. AP tests. With the AP test, we have flashcards, video lessons, again, that multimedia content that students love. It's like a little bit more engaging than just looking at a lesson. This one actually comes with click and drag pieces, so students can fill in the blank, click and drag answers, true or false questions, and then those flashcards again, where they can check their vocabulary. And then teaching, if you are a teacher, maybe a media specialist, and you're looking to get your praxis certification or move on to school leadership, we've even got praxis exams in here, practice tests that you can use. So all of that stored in My Resources and can quickly come back to and access it later. All right, that is just about my time. So I am going to wrap here. If you have any questions, I did want to include here, I know that was a very quick glimpse, just kind of at one piece. I'm going to put in the chat a training material that we have from our support site called the Training Toolkit. There's a full walkthrough of the entire resource. small tutorials, clippings, things like that you can look at and learn a bit more there.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. It has been really exciting to see, actually see this resource demonstrated. I know, well, I think Paula mentioned earlier, having the opportunity to look at the options that might be available for libraries to support students and those looking for career or test preparation, and really getting a chance to see what it's like and how the tool works and how will my patrons use this thing. I think
Yep.
is invaluable. And so I think that the trial is still on for maybe another week. I think it might end next week.
Yep, it's good through Tuesday.
Okay,
Yep.
great. So if you're hopefully, yes, people will have seen this recording. If you're going to watch the recording, hopefully you've seen it before Tuesday, and have had a chance to check out the trial and really see what this resource can do for your patrons. Thank you, everyone from Gale, both for joining us here for Taco Tuesday, but also for providing this resource for our members. All right, let me get set up for our, whoops. I'm still here, sorry. Okay, we'll try this again. I'm gonna share my screen one more time. I only use Zoom every single day. There's no reason why I should have any proficiency with it at this point, right? Okay, so our fourth and final presenter for today is joining us from Creativebug. We've got Megan here. Megan, I'm excited to have you back for Taco Tuesday. Are you ready to take over?
I am, thank you.
All right.
Share my screen and hopefully this works, because I know that there have been some times in the past when I've tried to share my screen and then people can't hear me. Can everyone hear me?
We can hear you, and I think we're now seeing your screen too.
Wonderful. Okay, success. So hello. Thank you all so much for joining us today. My name is Megan Hadadnall. I am the Senior Library Account Manager for Creativebug. Just quickly, I'm going to introduce the rest of our team. Angie Rizzo is another of our account managers. She's not here on the call, but I wanted to call her out. She and I work together to cover the entire breadth of the Creativebug business on the library side. And then Teresa King is new to our company. She joined us at the beginning of October. However, she has over a decade of experience in customer success in supporting libraries, and we are thrilled to have her join us. I will also be sharing in the chat links to our library service trial, as well as our email address that's listed here, just in case there are questions that come up after the presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into Creativebug. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Creativebug is an online resource for art and craft instruction. It is an unlimited simultaneous access database, and we also provide public performance rights with a library subscription. So for those of you who have patrons, students that may be interested in craft-related programming, this is a great resource because you can use it as direct instruction for inspiration, and I'll show you a variety of different types of content that we share through our site. It's probably obvious, but the majority of our content is video-based, and what you can do is once you've logged in and accessed the site, you can just start watching a class. This is our newest release. This gets updated 5 or 7 times a month, so pretty frequently. You can also pick up where you left off. This carousel style navigation is fairly similar to other streaming services, so it should feel pretty easy to figure out where you are and what you're looking at. We also have some recommended classes here based on your art and craft interests, as well as your previous watch history. Our patterns and printables library can be accessed here, as well as our new releases, recently added patterns and printables, and then seasonal classes down here at the bottom. So everything is organized in the carousel on the main homepage. You can also do a basic keyword search, quilting, and find thousands of different results. We have lots of quilting classes on our site. I prefer actually to browse. That's just my preferred method, but we have both options. And you can select a category and subcategory. I'll go through that again: classes, quilting, baby and kids. So then you get your results here as well. A couple things I want to point out on our site itself. Lower left-hand corner, you can click on this to enable accessibility. We do have a site that's compliant with the most recent WCAG guidelines. It doesn't look like it's doing much, but the remediations are occurring in the background. We also have this handy dandy little share button, so you can share a direct link to any of your search results or any individual classes that you come across. It's a static link on all of our pages. I'm going to go ahead and click into our class page so we can talk a little bit about what that looks like and how to navigate it. Sticking with the Halloween theme, we'll look at our crochet Halloween appliques. On the class page itself, you can see you can resume, you can start over from the beginning, you can navigate through the different chapters of the class in the right-hand panel over here. You can add or remove a class to your watch list. Underneath, we have our instructor's name here. That is hyperlinked. You can click on that person's name to learn more about the instructor, see all of the classes she's contributed, and any patterns and printables that this person has contributed as well. You'll also get a description of what you'll learn in this class, the list of materials required, and then your downloadable PDFs here, one of which is a downloadable materials list. The other is the patterns that go along with this particular class. I'm going to go ahead and play this class just for a few seconds. You'll just see a few little things on the video player. We do have the 10-second rewind button, which is useful, I think, particularly for programming librarians if you need to go back and rewatch skill. Also, this is so tiny, it's hard to see, but there is a little note here. We have the ability to add annotations at any time, which help you prepare if you're hosting a program using this particular class. Closed captions can be toggled on and off, as well as a variety of other settings that you can set, playback speed and resolution, etc. We currently have actually close to 1,400 classes on our site, and that number just keeps growing. We add to our collection every single month, so that all of that new content is available as part of your Creativebug subscription. Up here, you'll see a variety of different types of classes we offer. I'm going to jump into the resources tab so that I can show you just a few of the different types of content. Like I talked about, most of it is video content, but we also have patterns and printables that you can use. These are also available. They're covered by public performance, so feel free to download and share these. Many of our makeables and coloring pages are library themed. So we like to make sure that we're showing our support for libraries. This one was for Library Card Sign Up Month. We also have this banned books bookmark, which I love. It's one of my faves. So just wanted to point that out. Any of these can be used as take and makes, or you can share them around the library. Just leave them out on tables for patrons to access. And we also add new patterns and printables every month. Another feature of our site that I'm really proud of is our blog, also very frequently updated. We have a lot of inspiration here, a lot of recommendations for different types of classes you can take. We have some additional projects that we recommend. And we also have a handful of blog posts that are specifically about library programming, contributed by library programming librarians. So, sharing their best practices, tips, and tricks for hosting a successful program at the library using Creativebug. With about 5 minutes left, I'm going to give you a brief look at our admin portal. So this is the dashboard. This is where you would get all of your statistics. And we also keep track of the total number of classes available, the total number of subscriptions, and your renewal date here. So useful information for you to have. The dashboard is where you can get all your stats. We have additional reports available that give you more specific information about the types of classes and the actual classes patrons are watching on a monthly basis, the printables and patterns that patrons are downloading, additional resources such as our promotional assets, training materials, MARC records, and then a custom QR code that can be added to any of your printable materials to take patrons directly to your library's landing page for registration. And then in account info, you can manage patron records if necessary. Finally, I'm going to show you a very special piece that we publish these twice a year. So this is the most recent library programming guide that we've released. It's for spring 2025. And again, because our resource is both an e-resource and a programming resource, this is something that we do that's specific to library programming. I'm going to walk you through really quickly just a couple of the pages to show you. Maybe, let me see if I can, I'm just going to have to scroll, sorry. So you get a sense for the types of content that we include in these programming guides. We break it out by craft type. We include a little bit of information about our printable artists who contribute a lot of the printables and projects that we share. And then we also share our new release calendar at the end. So as you go through, I'm just going to give you a quick example of some of the types of content we create or that we share. Each one of these, sorry, I'm just slow to scroll. So for example, in the yarn crafts section, we have the title of the class with the instructor name, as well as these little icons, which are defined at the bottom of each page, telling you what type of project this works well for. So for example, this example, it's take and make, teen friendly, budget friendly, and library programming. And then we just have one of our reviews here as well. So you can see how these programs have been received by other patrons or users who've taken these. And then all of the definitions of the icons are included here below. So this is just a great reference guide, basically, to help you, to help navigate toward classes that work well within a programming arena. At the end, we also do include the actual printables for that season, and they can be printed directly from the programming guide. All of our programming guides are available through the resources area of our admin portal as well. And with that, I have about 2 minutes left. I have not seen any questions, but if there are questions, please let me know. And as I mentioned, I'm going to put a link to our service trial as well as our email address into the chat for anyone who thinks of questions after we wrap up today.
Thank you, Megan. I'm always excited to see what's new with Creativebug. And another, I don't know, kind of outside of the box resource that I think supports a part of the library that, you know, we don't have a huge range of e-resources to support crafting programs, right? So this is like a really excellent niche part of the library that gets support from a really unique product. So thank you so much for showing it off for us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's always great to be here.
Right. Well, with that, that has brought us to the end of, if you can believe it, another Taco Tuesday. So I will say again, thank you to all of you who have joined us live. Thank you to anyone who's watching the recording here after the fact. If you are watching the recording, you likely got to it through my follow-up email, which will have links to contact information for our presenters, any slides or handouts that they want to share with you, links to these various trials we've talked about. All that stuff should be in the email, but you can also reach out to us here at WiLS to get any information about those things, ask any questions about what you saw today, or to be connected to any of our presenters or representatives from their companies. We have another Taco Tuesday queued up for 2 weeks from now on November 12th. So please join us then for another set of 4 WiLS vendor partners showing off what's new and cool from their companies. Thanks again to our presenters, and I hope everybody has a nice afternoon and stays cool on this ridiculously hot October day. And yeah. Oh, and happy Halloween. Bye, everyone.